Welcome to Acorn to Oak with Penny Quayle Pierce and co-host Matthew Donachie. Within each acorn, there is the DNA that strives to be a mighty oak tree. All it needs to reach its potential for greatness is to be activated. You are the acorn. On this show, we will share with you the tools and guidance you need to grow into the person you are meant to be. And now your host, Penny Quayle Pierce and co-host Matthew Donachie.
Hi guys, it's good to be back. Obviously having just taken 3 weeks off, and again just wanted to start off with acknowledging Adam for stepping into my shoes, which was fantastic of him, and I hope he's listening so that he can hear me say that. Obviously I'm back. I'm Penny and Matthew is the co-host, and we're discussing your consciousness being hijacked right here, right now, and maybe having some negative pole thoughts and emotions. And it's time for us to welcome you to the Great Awakening. So again, welcome Jedis, here we go, the Force is with us. It's not necessarily easy, but we do have everything that we need to move through this, both within and outside ourselves. And it's about moving through it with grace and peace, even though the chaos unfolds around you. And I was just saying to Chris before we started the show, the UK is looking at releasing some of the lockdown on Sunday. So we're all waiting with bated breath to find out how that's going to look and what it's going to be. But it's important to remember that you're here to anchor love and your own unique genius on the earth. Our soul agenda before we were born was that we were going to be here in this moment with humanity's evolution. And your soul remembers what you came here to do and what the role you're supposed to play. Your soul knows the special skills and abilities that you came in with, and it's remembering that. So there is a part of the world that only you can touch, you can change. And what you've come to do is you're part of the ground crew to actually ground this into Mother Earth. So choose yourself and take what you need, your unique power. Remember the agreements that you set out to accomplish. The future is a moving target. We have a choice. Fortunately, both myself and Matthew have seen the choices that humanity makes, and it's a good choice. Excuse me. Obviously I've got to skip to the end of the book, and I already know the outcome. Love wins if we all step up to the plate. Not everybody else has seen that yet, but we can report to you that there's going to be some messiness, but in the end it's going to come out as a beautiful conclusion. If I get my teeth back in. So Matthew, do you want to say hi and put your pennies worth in?
Yeah, good evening everybody. It's good to be back. Hope everybody's well. It's been another interesting week in the UK. And yeah, as Penny said, what I've very much has been up for me, or what I've especially been noticing this week, is just how easy it is to get distracted in times like this, and how people buy into the negative and sort of the things that may not even be true. So there's conspiracy theories going on, and I mean it's all kind of things. And when you look at the behaviour from the outside, from the bigger picture, it's very much how we used to do things, rather than work together and realise that we all have different views, we're all different personalities here, yet we all have a common goal. And actually, if we work together on things rather than fighting against each other, then it can be real easy. And it's like, rather than fighting about the differences, It's like we need to focus on what's important. And I know, especially in the UK, there's this, as Penny said, there's this big thing around Sunday and what's going to happen and what's it going to look like, and people are getting really excited. But there's also a lot of people that are actually scared about what that actually looks like. And again, what's blown me away is the huge amount of fear that people are seeing. You would think the way certain people are talking, it's like the world has changed forever and it'll never be the same. And it's almost like that we're doomed attitude, which I think is just so beyond where we're actually at. I mean, there's people that are coming out. I've been looking into how each different country has handled it, what their policies have been, how they've implemented lockdown. And what's interesting to me is what's coming out is that actually countries that have carried on and still taken a huge amount of responsibility and medical advice, but the ones that have limited lockdown are actually the ones that seem to be coming out of it better. And again, there's so many people that are saying, oh, well, no, that's wrong, it's a conspiracy, that's all wrong. And rather than say, well, hang on, if every country's got a report, let's look at who's done well. I know the UK is actually one of the worst. So we should be reflecting on, well, how could we improve this in the future, rather than staying stuck in this is a big thing. It's kind of like it's only as big as you make it. And when you look at some of the stats from Sweden, it's actually quite mind-blowing how a different outcome can come from that. And when you're looking at outcomes, it's very much what Penny was talking about. It's staying positive and staying on the path, because things are going to be rough and things are going to change. There are going to be changes, but actually this is a very, very small amount of time we're talking about. Whether it be 6 months or a year, like it's nothing. Like, so now's the time to concentrate on yourself and keep that positivity going. And with the global sort of wake up spiritually, a lot of people noticing the behaviours, and the behaviours making them feel sick, because they're like, I can't believe people are acting like this. I can't believe I acted like that. And it's about sort of keeping that positive mindset and being aware. I've been meditating sort of a lot more than usual recently, and it's just staying connected and actually being real with what's true.
Yeah, I think that's
kind of
really
like,
important.
Even if the rest of the world's falling apart, it doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and I think one of the big lessons of lockdown is actually, we can simplify our lives. We can, obviously I'm not saying, I've missed not being with my larger family. I've missed not going up and seeing my mum, who is about 6 hours away from me now. And, she's 94 now, and she doesn't necessarily recognise us. She's gone down the dementia route. So I've really, really missed not being able to travel. But, it's important for us to realise that, we can stay in touch. We can be in communication with our loved ones. It's, it's just a different way of being. And we've all, at the very beginning of lockdown, we all resisted maybe needing to make those changes. And it was, it's really, really important to, part of our job on Earth right here, right now, is to be flexible and understand that things are not going to be the same. Hopefully, that's one of the things I pray for every day, is we're not going to go back to the same old, same old. And it's really important for us all to make a collective effort that, post-lockdown, we're coming back into a new world, which is more compassionate, more empathetic, more kind, more loving, more being able to step out of our own petty worries and realize that we are a global family now. And actually, we need to start looking at who we want to be as a human family. What attributes do we want to take forward? And I've always talked about what is in your bottom line. What is it that's in your bottom line? What are your beliefs? What are you passionate about? What is it that you want to take forward? What is it you want to be remembered for? How do you want to impact the world and the new world that we're, which is dawning right here, right now? And it's, I no longer want to, muffle my voice. I want to be able to speak my truth and know that the truth that is coming through me is being heard and respected, and actually stepping out and just going, no, enough rubbish here. You can't treat us like sheep. You can't treat us like we don't know. We have opinions. We have a voice that needs to be heard, and we have a song that we need to sing. And, I've been looking, one of the things that I have loved in the lockdown is getting back into looking at different music. And one of the things that I shared with On Times in the lounge was, the blessing, the UK churches getting together and singing a blessing. And I looked on that, and of course on YouTube you get lots of different things, and different churches in different countries have all got together and sung the same song, and each rendition of it is so energy filled, so devotional, so high vibrational. It's just astonishing. And if we can align ourselves with what the churches are doing as spiritual beings, then, we can surpass that. And that's what gives me absolute faith that the outcome is love wins. Because that is actually what people have been getting in touch with. Yes, of course, you have duality. Where the love is, when love is coming up and raising the vibration, yes, you also get the unthinking behaviour, the behaviour that you just look at and go, nod your head and say, really? Was that really how you want to behave? But also there's been some astonishing everyday love that, we've just come in again at 8 o'clock, we're clapping for the NHS. And it's really important just to keep that moving. And one of the things that has been interesting in the UK, because our Prime Minister, Boris, had coronavirus, was in intensive care. And, most of us who are in the know in the UK, it's like he had that near-death experience. He is a totally different person to the one that went in. Not only that, but with obviously the birth of his son also, he's going to have a totally different perspective. And it's really interesting just to see some of the softness that is arriving in the UK because of that. It's interesting times. So handing back to you again, Matthew, just to talk about your experiences of love wins.
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is story I would use or reference would be Captain Tom, because I think it's just amazing what he did with the raising the money for charity, but also the response he received as well. He got enough birthday cards to fill a 20 square room or something. Like, the amount of birthday cards he received was just insane. He got a #1 hit in the UK, which he did with Michael Ball, and it was just beautiful to see how one action from one man can spread into so much compassion and joy from everybody else. Because we're talking about a huge amount of money that was raised, and it's because people were inspired by what he was doing, and it's spreading, and it would be nice if it spread a little bit more into the 1%, but it's little things like that really, it's the masses that we're talking about here that are feeling more inspired now. I know so many people have gained so many different things from lockdown. Again, not to focus on the negative, but all the positive things that people have been engaging more with cooking and looking more into their health and what they're feeding themselves in that way. I know it's certainly a conversation I've had with my housemate when we were talking about what some of the changes might be. And we were saying that even coffee is one of my sort of, I wouldn't say addictions, but I'm soft when it comes to coffee. And we're looking at how many sort of Costas I would have a week. And we were saying that's something that's just going to go completely out the window. I'm not going to go to a mainstream place regularly. Because I've sort of reflected on how much money I was wasting on things that just don't matter. And I'm sure if I'm doing that with coffee, there's lots of other people doing that and thinking, when they're thinking about maybe the amount of, I had a client that was saying the amount of makeup that they wear, just some of the things that we're used to buying that we just see have no value to us whatsoever. It may be a product or something that we use regularly that we thought was important, but actually what we've come to realise from this is that actually there is only really one or two things that truly matter in life, and love and joy are two of them. And it is that people realise as long as you've got a roof over your house, and sort of food and water, then we're all good. And then that puts people onto the mindset of, well, then we need to do more about the homeless. I know I've said it on previous shows, it's like we shouldn't be worrying about going to space and doing all these wonderful technological leaps. We should be putting that money into looking after our own. Let's get the planet where we don't have starving children, where we don't have homeless people. Like, if we took it seriously and everybody made an effort just on that one thing, that could be sorted within a week. You only have to inspire one billionaire and that could sort the problem. And it's not making it one man's problem or saying it's about money, but as a global population, some of us have money, some of us have expertise. It's about bringing everything together and using it as one resource, effectively.
Ho, 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 ho.
So thanks for listening. We're going into a break now, and we'll see you on the other side.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. Om Times Radio, IOM FM. Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
We are talking about your life. Ever wonder, is this as good as it gets? No, it could be so much better. At Acorn to Oak, we know you are seeking more happiness, joy, unconditional love, financial freedom, passion, and purpose. Find your unique mojo and live an extraordinary life. Want to know more? Contact us at our website, acorntooak.org.uk.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hi, so we're back and we're talking about love and the reason that we believe and we know that love will win. And a friend put something on Acorn to Oak's community group today, and I just thought, how wonderful is that? So it's a quote from Swami Sri Yukteswar, who was Paramahansa Yogananda's guru. And basically the quote says, ordinary love is selfishly dark-rooted in desire and satisfaction. Divine love is without condition, without boundary, without change. The flux of the human heart is gone forever and is transfixedly touched after meeting pure love. So when we're talking about love wins in the radio show tonight, we're talking about, real love, not romantic love or selfish love or love of money, love of anything that is of the physical world. It's talking about the love of being able to love unconditionally, without boundary, without change. And it's one of the things for me in my life that, I have been pursued with absolute dedication is learning how to love unconditionally, learning to have the patience, learning to just accept what is in front of me and realize that I can make a home anywhere. I can be at home within myself. And it is that home and learning that I am strong within that has led me through many trials. It doesn't mean that the trials don't come. It doesn't mean that you're not faced with challenges, whether they're physical challenges, which I've been obviously challenged with this year, having gone through heart surgery and then the coronavirus and then pericarditis after that. It seemed like I was hit over the head by the universe with quite a few baseball bats. But all the way through that, I knew who I was. I accepted myself unconditionally and knew that with my faith in the divine that I would move through it. And yes, there were times where I felt resisting. I wanted to go back to work early. I wanted to be out there helping because that's who I am and that's what's in my bottom line, is to be as much service to humanity as I can be. But also realizing that the service that I actually help people with, it's really important that I took care of myself first and actually putting my needs first. And, we call that being divinely selfish. When you put your needs first and realize that the service that you bring to the rest of humanity is way more important that you're healthy, than if you allow your health to become poor. So it's really important to understand that those unique skills that we bring and that uniqueness that we bring to the earth right here, right now, is so important. And looking at what are those skills? What is that unique genius that we have forgotten that we have? And we have to remember right here, right now, what your soul has come here to do. What is the role that you are supposed to play right here, right now? And just reconnecting with that unique genius within yourself. And being and learning to be that beacon so that you can share those special skills and ability that you came down to share. So again, just allowing Matthew to put his 2 pennies worth in.
Yeah, I think it's probably something that not many people have thought about, and probably something that lockdown's very much brought up for them. Whether you've been furloughed from work or whether you're self-employed and you've been effectively completely off work, or whether you're a business owner and you've been running a business and have been sort of forced to close that, a lot of people are reflecting on, do I want to go back to doing this? Is this really serving me? Is it making me happy? There's always the financial element in a business or in a job, in a career. However, that means nothing when you're putting a price on your happiness. So I think a lot of people are going through a lot of reflective times on maybe they've been creating a business or running a business that just isn't fitting with them. Maybe they're offering a service, but they want to offer a greater service. So for me, I used to work in building, and people say, oh, that must have been, you must have got so much from it, building houses and sort of giving people that extra space. And I never really got the joy that I get from what I do now, which is helping people change their lives. It's helping and guiding people into making fundamental, permanent changes within their lives that just, it's the ripple effect. There is no greater feelings. So although people would say to me, you must really enjoy building, it just didn't cut it for me anymore. And so obviously very different situation from me, but I think a lot of people are getting to that stage where it's like kind of like a lot of people probably don't even want to go back to work, and they're only going to go back to the job because of the money. And I think let's be very realistic here. If everybody needs money to get by, if you've been on lockdown for 2 months, the most sensible thing isn't to say, I don't want to go back to my job, so I'm going to look for something else. Go back to your job, but look for something else. Or if you do have the chance to make the jump where it just feels like it doesn't fit anymore, or you lust for more than just the joy and happiness that you get at your job, maybe you feel it's just not fulfilling enough. It's perfectly all right. I remember when we did careers days at school, and it's the classic one man's lead is another man's gold, and it's that some people's job to be a cleaner would be the best thing ever, for them to provide a service where they're cleaning for other people. For some people there is nothing better. For me, it's helping people with their mental and emotional issues. For other people, it's providing services. It's like, it really doesn't matter what it is if it makes your heart sing. if that's what you feel like you're here to do, then do it. Don't wait another day. Don't wait another year. Like, this could be the biggest opportunity you have to make a fundamental life-changing change within your own life. If anything comes from good from coronavirus, it could be that you made the decision that you weren't going to go back to the life that you were living because it just doesn't fit anymore. And I think what's really important, what I'd say to people that are feeling like that, is go for it. Absolutely go for it. Don't for 1 second think that anything can get in your way. If you truly want something and you're behind it 100%, and as we would say, you're coming from your heart, it's that soul calling. It's like, if it makes your heart sing, do it. Do it responsibly. Don't suddenly think, right, I'm not going to go back to my old job, and then cause yourself 2 months of having to penny pinch, because that's going to bring its own stress, which you don't need when you want to be on a positive move. So say to yourself, right, I'm going to give myself 3 months, and in 3 months I'm leaving my job, and make the change. Do something positive. I know it's something a lot of people say, oh, I'm really hitting a wall at the moment, and it's kind of like, well, mate, look to the left, because there's a doorway, and beyond that doorway is the rest of your life, and it's so much more amazing than the last bit. So it's, for me, again, I get really excited and really passionate because I just see this as such a positive time. Like, people sort of say, oh, how are you doing? And, oh, you must be really struggling. And it's kind of like just being very real. Like, I've had certain things in my own life happen recently that have put me in reaction from time to time. But 99% of the time, I'm loving it, because there's going to be such an amazing change from this. And I can't wait. And sure, there's going to be a few bumps along the road, but there always is on an amazing journey. So, hey, let's enjoy that as well.
Absolutely. I think if it was plain sailing and it was just a smooth road, there's no, as you said, there's no excitement. There's no needing to gird your loins and step up to the plate. The future is a moving target. We have a choice here. And, I was talking to someone the other day, basically, as I was coming back to work, and just basically say there are many, many different versions of the Earth. There's many different vibrations of the Earth. It's up to us to choose the highest vibration of the Earth and bring that into being. And it's real important that we all make those choices. And Matthew and I were talking earlier on before the show, and he was saying, say what you said. What was it? Which do you choose, madam? Heaven or hell?
Oh, yeah.
And it's just looking at it and just going, there's a great story about Paramahansa Yogananda, and he was talking to somebody, and this guy came up to him and was talking to him and saying, I'm doing really good, and this and that and the other, and Yogananda was just standing there pouring out unconditional love, and later on turned to one of his devotees and just went, still in hell then. It was just absolutely blinding. But he wasn't there to say to him, you've chosen hell. It's letting people make their own choices. But again, we make our own choices, and then we complain about the result because we haven't actually thought it through. We haven't looked at it. We haven't taken the time to realise and recognise our own souls, our own higher self. We haven't done any inner work to remember the agreements that we actually put down, and because we all have the life review before we come in. What are we going to be working on this time? And we've all chosen to be here for the coronavirus, and it's. When people first hear that, they look at you as if you're berserk and just go, You must be joking. I haven't chosen to be here for the coronavirus. Well, I hate to say this to you, but the truth is you did. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on the planet right here, right now.
Yeah.
You would have chosen some other time frame. And it's really important for us to understand that and not fight against it. It's like, you know, if you're in Antarctica, you know, remember to put ice in your drink because there's plenty of it. And it's just like, you know, for heaven's sake, you know, we're here right now, and you have to make the best out of whatever situation that you're in showing gratitude and looking at grace. You know, the law of gratitude, if you thank people and thank the universe for what you have, you will receive more of it. If you think it, you know, you're being hard done by, then you're going to be hard done by. And it's really, really important, you know, and definitely during my recovery in the last 3 weeks, just being grateful every day for perfect health. And, you know, okay, I've got a ways to go. I've got to get over my surgery. But that's stamina and physical strength. But that doesn't mean that I can't sit down in a nice, comfortable chair and talk to you wonderful guys and try and help inspire you to make those choices, to do that work, to remember your agreements, and to set out an accomplishment. You know, accomplish them. There's me. Put my teeth back in, Matthew. Maybe you should talk for a while.
Yeah, it's
break time, son.
Saved by the bell.
Saved by the bell.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. Om Times Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of Om Times Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On. My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from New Thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
We are talking about your life. Ever wonder, is this as good as it gets? No, it could be so much better. At Acorn to Oak, we know you are seeking more happiness, joy, unconditional love, financial freedom, passion, and purpose. Find your unique mojo and live an extraordinary life. Want to know more? Contact us at our website, acorntooak.org.uk.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
was talking about before the last break about the different versions of the world, different versions of the earth, and very much about different timelines and different vibrations. And if we shift our vibration to the highest we can in this lifetime, then we're going to experience more love and abundance and all of the juicy things in life. And if we're in a gross vibration, then we're going to find it tougher. And the future is a moving target. The future is not written yet, and therefore we do have that choice right here, right now, to do the inner work within ourselves in order to change what we're seeing in front of us in the outer world. And it's really important that we get to grips with this, because timelines are really important. We obviously know that in our timeline the future is in front of us, the past is behind, or you may be left to right. It doesn't matter where that timeline is. And it's looking at it and putting out those choices into our future of having more abundance, having more patience, having the ability to love unconditionally. As I was talking about, one of my passions, I think, in my 20s was looking at things and seeing things and realizing the lack of truth in them. When I was going to church, when I was a churchgoer and I was going to church, and you'd have all of these deeply religious people who would then, on a Sunday and on a Monday, you would see them ripping someone off, and it just didn't make sense to me when I saw the incongruence of a lot of churches and a lot of religions. And that's when I chose to not be part of that scene and actually find my own spirituality and my own path, my own pathway. And it's really important to understand that is part of a journey. We can't click our fingers, and as Carl Jung would say, you can't click your fingers and imagine that you are a being of light and become one. The only way to evolve right here, right now on this planet, Jung would say, is to own your own shadow. I do that slightly differently, and I would say, to go within and look and see what clutter is stopping you remember who you truly are. And, in remembering who you truly are, you do the work in order to get in touch with your authentic self. And when I talk about authentic self, I'm talking about your higher self, your soul, and what those soul qualities are, and what those special skills and abilities that you came in with. If you don't do the work to get in touch with your authentic self, your higher self and soul, in brackets, if you don't get to understand that part of self, then you won't be able to look at the bottom line. And when you look at the bottom line, it's, what are your beliefs? What is it that makes you passionate? What are your beliefs? What's your moral code? What do you find acceptable, and what do you find that's not acceptable? And what in that bottom line needs to change and be upgraded so that you can move to the next level of evolution. And in you moving to that next level of evolution, you help 1,000 others make the move with you. And that is how we heal the world. It's not going out and suddenly think, I'm a healer and I can heal everybody. It's about you taking responsibility for yourself. And if you take responsibility for yourself, then you can affect thousands. And when you really get that, and when you really own that, and everybody take a breath, that's where the beautiful conclusion comes from. Because it can negate the messiness that we are going to go through in just unlocking lockdown. That is when soul family becomes global. And people, you know, entrepreneurs talk about their tribe, their this, their that. Sorry, that's over now. That time has gone. It's not about my tribe, my clients, my this. It's about all of us or none. Because I'm going to completely freak people out now, is because there is only one of us here. There is only one of us here. So everybody out there that you see and you blame, you are just hurting yourself. Every child you see who is starving, your inner child is starving. So you are only harming yourself. And we really need to get this now. We are a global family. And it's all of us or none. Everybody take a breath, and I will hand over to Matthew after that rant.
Yes, so to sort of carry on from where I was really, it's looking at how are you making positive changes at the moment, and how are you going to take them forwards into lockdown, or out of lockdown, should I say. And very much it's whether it's connecting with the right spiritual groups or spiritual families, get in touch with the people that you feel you need to take your life to the next level, whatever it is. It's don't sit and wait around and waste any more time. When Penny was saying about people that sort of say, oh, I'm a healer and I can heal people, like, this stuff's got to stop. This is, again, where spiritual or semi-spiritual people are leading other people wrongly, and it's time for actually the truth to be told, and not to be scared of saying, oh, well, I can't say this because people will get offended. Well, people that get offended will get offended because it's wrong, ultimately. We're only healers for ourselves. No one else can heal you. Only we can heal ourselves. A good guide and a good teacher will help and support you along the way, but nobody can do it for you, and nobody can take the credit for you doing that. There's way too much of this misguiding and misleading going on, and it is a time for people to tell the truth. There's a lot of stigma around people that, forgive me if I get the terms wrong, but light workers or star seeds and this, and it's people that almost give the spiritual helpers a bad name, because they talk about the doom and gloom of being in service, whether you're helping spiritually, holistically, whatever it is. But if there's a spiritual element, it's like they've always got to put a downer on it, like, oh, we're hard done by because, oh, well, we do so much for other people and it takes our energy. That's rubbish. Anyone who's working within energy or spirituality, who has a decent knowledge around it, will have themselves so well protected that when they're working with a client, they're getting energized as well. So again, all of this rubbish around sort of what's true and what's not, it's a time to break through that and actually tell people the truth and say that because there's so many sort of, for me, breath work is the one that emotionally helped me save myself, and it's getting that out there. Like, again, some of the stigma I've come up against when I'm putting myself out there is the stigma that people have put up around holistic approach or energetic medicines before, which is you have to wear tie-dye and call yourself Moonbeam and everyone will be healed. And it's kind of like, it's like Penny said, like, God isn't going to save us. That's our job. You know, we need to stand up and take responsibility for the here and now and do it. Because it's one of the things around religion that I have an issue with is always asking to be saved, and rather than you could save yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just some of the stigmas, I think, and that's what, again, it's one of the things I love that's coming out at the moment is the amount of truth and the amount of passion that comes with it, because it's, people are sick of being lied to and having the wool pulled over their eyes, and that's why I think it's just such a radical time. Like, I'm really, really enjoying it, because seeing it from all sides it's like one big soap story. I mean, crikey, you don't need television in this day and age. You just sort of almost look outside, like, because the world's going crazy, and it's great fun. Because, and I only say that because I know the outcome. Yeah. And the outcome is way beyond what any of us can imagine. It is going to change humanity for time. And that is epic. Even just feeling the energy around that, if you're aware around energy, tune into it. It's amazing. There is a huge change going on at the moment.
It's really exciting, actually, I must admit, and it's really, you know, it's just going to be amazing. But we mustn't think that we can sit on our laurels, and this is the thing. The most important thing is realizing we do have to put our 2 pennies worth in. We do have to put the work in. We do have to look at it and see the possibilities here, because, you know, as Matthew says, his favourite word is epic. It's epic, and it's, you know, it is epic, and it's really exciting. And, you know, in any period of change, you know, we call it, at Acorn to Woke, we call it a period of perturbation. And perturbation is that messiness. It is that everything goes up in the air and we have no idea what part of the jigsaw is going to land first. And, you know, it is that, you know, the thing about being in this space with duality is that, you know, things can look pretty horrific on occasions, but then when it flips over, it is the most incredible, awesome, beautiful thing that you've ever seen in your life. And as we go through that perturbation, we tease out the higher vibration, and bang, we move into a new amazing consciousness. And this new amazing consciousness can be accessed by everybody. And, you know, this is how people have come up with amazing and extraordinary, you know, new theories, new research, new ways of being, new ways of thinking. You know, we all thought the world was flat, you know, back in Columbus Day, and we all thought they were going to sail off and fall off the world. You know,
some still do, believe it or not.
Well, hey, and you just look at it and go, you know, until that new consciousness that actually we were on this globe which is floating through, you know, the cosmic soup and in the universe. You know, and if you ever watch the sunshine, you know, from the mountains or anything else, and you see the speed with which the sun actually sinks, and you realise you're on a spaceship. You know, you're standing on a spaceship, and we're constantly moving and constantly grooving. And if we allow that flow, we allow the flow of the universe and we allow the flow within us, we know that it is ever changing. And that, I think, is what causes the fear within people, is because they know they're not living on a static planet. It is constantly moving. And we are constantly moving. And that's why, the future is a moving target. It's not written yet. So we can decide, humanity is going to decide. And, looking at this is that we do make some good choices. And no, it's not going to change overnight. This is what evolution is all about. Evolution is because you're in a growth mode. And that's the most important thing. So just hand it back to Matthew quickly so he can say good evening.
So yeah, well, thanks for listening, everybody. I hope we've brought you some joy and some peace in the confusing time. If you need any help and support, just get in touch with us. Good luck, stay safe.
And be excited, because there's going to be some huge, amazing changes. And, let's see you on the track and enjoy them together.
Yeah, don't let me be the only excitable nutter.